Boom.
Kill you! I've just seen death!
Do you know what the most frightening thing in the world is?
The truth is out there, Henry.
You know, people all around me for like the last 20 years or 30 years have always like ranted and raved about the X-Files. And I think you know this. I've never seen it. I maybe saw like a couple episodes and one of the movies.
I don't know that.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, no, I've never binged them.
I'm very upset right now.
Where are they streaming? Are they even streaming?
I don't know. It's probably like Paramount or something like that. You gotta at least check out the first few seasons. Yeah. Yeah. So I am here. I'm back. We just posted a video today, a new episode with Sliding Through Dimensions, but today we are back. I am here with Henry from Black Market Comics and of course Frank Welker Wonder Hour. And we are going to cover the recent big news in the US, I guess the world you would say, but the UAP hearing, which was titled Unidentified Anomalous Phenomenon Exposing the Truth. So we're going to dive into all the latest developments from Capitol Hill. And this was a highly anticipated hearing for anyone that's been involved in the UFO community or covered any, or like, you know, been following anything with the UFO community. Have you always been into this sort of stuff, or is something like came up naturally with you like recently?
No, it's always been the case. I remember elementary school and going to the libraries back before they were banning books. And
yeah,
I was always into like cryptozoology and and you know, of course, like at that time, UFO was the term, and that was just as popular with the kids. And so I was one of them, checking out books about it, watching Unsolved Mysteries and waiting for the abduction stories. That was my favorite.
I was always waiting for the ghost stories, but the abduction stories were good too.
Because I've been a believer since a little kid, man. The only thing I probably believe in is the fact that we're not alone.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, with everything that's been revealed, to think that we're not being visited by something at this point is insane. At the very least, there is, if not something interplanetary, but interdimensional that is crossing over and keeping track of us. I wish they would fix some fucking things.
Right? There's this one guy.
There's this one guy. It's causing a lot of problems.
It's causing a lot of problems.
You just suck him up in that UFO.
I'd vote for Zip Zorb for president.
Clyzorp?
Clyzorp, yeah.
I'm a Clyzorp guy. I like
Medicare
his
for all.
stand on taxes.
Stand on taxes and no tariffs.
Everyone's skin will be taxed. We will remove your skin
tax. We remove 5 minutes from the end of your life.
So the hearing that took place on November 13th, it lasted about 2.5 hours. And it brought together experts like retired Rear Admiral Tim, I guess it'd be Gallaudet? Yeah, that's how I was pronouncing it.
Like French, right?
Yeah, very French. Former NASA official Michael Gold and journalist Michael Schellenberger to discuss claims of advanced technologies and the possibility of extraterrestrial life. The key revelations that came out from this are that the U.S. possesses UAP technologies, and it also outlined a bunch of military encounters with these objects. The main thing that everyone's talking about is the inclusion into, I guess you call evidence or whatever, but this document called the Immaculate Constellation document, which anyone who's following UFO stuff, there's been rumblings about this document for 5 or 6 years now.
Well, probably longer than that, but it's been held quiet because I think the congresswoman who brought it up specifically mentioned that if you mentioned Immaculate Constellation in any public forum, that you were put on a list.
Yeah. I think the origins of it took place around 2017, and people started talking about it shortly thereafter that something like this existed.
And wasn't there a big CIA dump back in the end of the Obama era?
A lot of documents that came out with that first hearing when they first started talking about it. Everyone I thought it was going to be gigantic news, and then everyone was just like, "Oh, I guess UFOs are real," and they just went about their day.
Yeah, just like last week when it happened. But that was the squid footage.
Yeah.
I remember correctly.
The very first hearing is the one where they played the Go Fast video. And
which one is that?
I'll play a little clip of it, but it's basically over the ocean, and they're tracking a little dot that seems to be flying at tremendous speeds. And it's the one where the guy goes, "Oh, got it!" Like when he locks on.
Yeah. Oh, got it. Yeah. And that's the thing about that footage. That was the USS Nimitz.
Yeah,
that's the same ship now it's in the Washington D.C. It's over in the Atlantic side, but it was stationed on the Pacific along what's the name of that island? It's a particular hotspot. No, it's not Catalina. It's further south.
Catalina is a UFO hotspot.
Yeah, Catalina. It was eventually moved up to Catalina, but it was originally Saint Guadalupe, I think is the name of the island off of the coast of Baja.
Oh, okay, yeah, farther down.
Further down, yeah.
And
they think that's where the footage was from.
Okay,
but I know that it's there. Most of the footage that's been released publicly that's on the ocean was from the USS Nimitz.
Okay, yeah. Now, just in the last few days, the Pentagon has released a paper, their findings on the Go Fast video, and they claim to have disproven it because of the parallax of a plane looking at something in the sky while the plane's moving. It makes it look like it's moving much faster than it is. A lot of people are calling it bullshit and just
5 years later.
Of course, there's a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, this explains everything," and there's a lot of people say, "No, this doesn't explain anything. What about this? What about that?" Now, a lot of things came to light during this hearing. It's still not bigger news than I thought it was going to be. I mean, people are talking about it, but it just seems like it would be huge news, and it doesn't seem to be getting the attention that it deserves.
Yeah,
it's like the first time this hearing happened. I thought, there was going to be breaking news, and they would interrupt. It could have been, yeah. But it's typical people like poo-pooing it and saying like, "Oh well," because there's no way they're visiting, or they're saying, "Well, it's Chinese technologies or something." But if you listen to these experts, there's no way that the stuff that they're filming could be made by human intelligences. It's way too advanced. The G's that the vehicles are pulling. I think in one document, or one part of the Immaculate Constellation document, it says that it went from 5 Gs to 5,000 Gs.
Yeah,
and like the human body can only handle like 45 Gs before you die.
Well, 17, according to who was the Pentagon guy who was the head of he was the head of UAP.
Lou Elizondo.
Elizondo. He wrote a book. He's doing the podcast tours right now through like Rogan and Theo Von and everything like that. And I mean, that's something to consider at the beginning of this. This guy just released the book. He's doing a publicity tour for it.
Yeah.
And so I could see some of like, well, that's funny. That's cool. And he constantly mentions it because he knows it's part of the national record, his testimony. So he's going to say, at Barnes and Noble's, buy today, and Amazon.
Yeah, by the way, listen to me on Rogan.
But he, on the flip side of that, he talks about how long it took to get approval from the Pentagon to be able to release this book, to publish this book to begin with.
Yeah.
And his testimony corresponds with everything else that had been publicly released in hearings like this since 2017. The one that took place what was it, last year, was the one that was behind closed doors, and that's where they start talking about interdimensional beings and the fact that the footage that was captured in Afghanistan, I think, was real.
Yeah.
So it lends credibility to that. So it's all kind of, I can see both sides.
To be honest, when I first started listening to Elizondo talk, I wasn't too sure about the guy. He sort of rubbed me the wrong way. And I thought, oh, maybe he's just like, scamming people, or maybe he's just trying to get publicity or whatever. But the longer that this has gone on and the stuff that's come out, everything seems to line up.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go through some of the, just to lay it out here. These were the people that testified. First, we had going from Lou Elizondo. He is a former Department of Defense official. He alleged that the U.S. government and other nations possess advanced UAP technologies, and he claimed these technologies monitor military installations, and he suggested a global arms race to understand and replicate them. The next guy to testify was Tim Gallaudet, or Gallaudet. I'm not sure. I'll have to find out how that's pronounced. He is a retired rear admiral and described his personal experience with naval exercise involving an unexplainable go fast video, which has become famous now. He recounted how related data mysteriously disappeared from naval accounts shortly afterward, raising concerns about intentional suppression of evidence. And
well, that corresponds with what Elizondo testified to, that there's a PSYOP operation going on inside the Pentagon for people who come forward with footage.
Yeah. There was a documentary a few years back. I want to say it was called Mirage Men, but it was basically about guys in the government that would discredit people for UFO sightings. That was their whole thing. It was a whole psyop they run to try to discredit anyone that came out about, and they would put in fake stuff that was intentionally fake, like videos, that so they could be disproven later, and then further discredit the whole UFO community and make everyone seem crazy. So this has been going on for 80 years, pretty much. That's why no one ever wanted to say it. You would lose your wings if you talked about UFOs.
Mm-hmm.
Last person to testify who brought the biggest piece of evidence was Michael Schellenberger. He's an investigative journalist, and he had emphasized the need for greater transparency and released redacted reports, which is the Immaculate Constellation document. And he claimed allegations of government cover-ups. So witnesses had discussed allegations that the U.S. runs clandestine programs involving UAP crash retrieval and reverse engineering. And the programs are said to operate without public or congressional oversight, which is one of the big things, is like, this is just unchecked.
Well,
go ahead.
It's also a big capitalistic push to put that technology and any kind of biologics that are found on those sites into the hands of American corporations.
Yeah,
like Lockheed
exactly.
Martin and Boeing and Messick, who's the one that does whatever underwater stuff, and it's compartmentalized too.
Yeah.
They're going to particular contractors with their expertise. They're not giving everything to Boeing, so people are getting bits and pieces. So it's kind of like a clandestine operation in the release of information to people who are top. They're at the level to receive classified information.
Yeah, the way I heard someone describe it perfectly. This is the new Cold War.
Yeah,
it's about information. It's about secrets, and there seems to be a race right now of who can get these vehicles and figure them out and use that technology.
Mm-hmm.
And whoever does it first will come out on top.
Wasn't there a talk of a deadline on this race too? 2027. Have you heard of?
Man, I have not.
Conspiracy theorists. Oh, it's so weird. So
I thought you were going to start talking about Project 2025. I'm like, oh no.
No. So Joe Rogan has been on, and not that I listen to it, but it just so happens that most of the clips, readily available audio on this stuff from these experts are either the Pentagon hearings or their podcast tours right now. So, a lot of stuff is Joe Rogan, Theo Von, and everybody else who's doing that. So Joe Rogan's got a lot of information on this, and on top of that, I think it just like us, it tickles that it tickles that itch in his brain to want to know more about UAPs and UFOs.
Oh yeah, it's a sexy subject. Everyone wants to know about UFOs.
So he interviewed a lot of different not government officials, but those that are close to government officials, like Tucker Carlson, for example.
Yeah.
Media figures, book editors, and one of the things he keeps on, like he was very proud of this Tucker Carlson interview because he keeps quoting it and mentioning, Tucker things.
Yeah.
All the fucking time. But the thing is that's kind of what makes it fishy again, that it's all just kind of like publicity, like it's being forced to down our throats, whether we want it or not. And the reason that a lot of people are saying that is I could think it's March, some date in March in 2027 is like an agreement expires with whatever entities are in the ocean because they know that they're I don't know, from the ocean, but they're in the ocean now.
That's a big revelation to come out is the amount of USO sightings, unidentified submergible objects.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you'll see in these encounters over and over again, it's happening over the ocean. And then all of a sudden they're tracking them and then they can't track them. Like they went under the ocean with no resistance whatsoever. Mm-hmm. But the Tucker Carlson thing, okay, I fucking hate Tucker Carlson. I can't stand him. I think he's a douchebag. And he's partly responsible for ruining the country right now. Mm-hmm. But it is truthful that he probably has access to people that other people wouldn't have access to and has these candid conversations with people that no one else could have. Because I've seen those clips of him talking about, government people saying, "Oh yeah, we've seen this, we've seen that."
Right. But he knows who's listening to him too.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So I could see where your hesitancy comes in with wanting to trust everyone with this, and you have to question everything when it comes to this stuff. You don't know what kind of bullshit you're being fed. But at the same time, I think this is important enough to where I feel like I need to talk about it. So the Pentagon's position on this, the Pentagon had previously reported finding no evidence of extraterrestrial origins or for UAPs. And many experts had argued that incidents remain unexplained, fueling public and political demands for further investigation. Now, of course, the Pentagon's going to take that position. They're not going to come right out and say...
They're the fucking Pentagon.
Yeah, they're the Pentagon. What else are you expecting? They like send a memo like, "Oh yeah, we forgot to tell you about that. Yeah, aliens are real. Sorry." As much as I would love that would fucking be the thrill of my life, but they're not going to do that.
No. Everything around them is saying and screaming out like, "Hey, these things are real, and we don't know what they want."
They're just like, "What things? What are you talking about?"
But the Rear Admiral had mentioned that every nuclear sub on the planet, not even just the U.S., we're finding out that other countries are also being monitored by these things. But every nuclear submarine has a little unknown object following it at all times.
All the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. The broader implications of this is that it expands beyond the discussion of extraterrestrial life. And it focuses on UAPs being like a national security issue due to their interactions with these military installations. Because over and over again, these aren't just happening at random places. They're happening near places where nuclear weapons are stored or sensitive materials are stored, any sort of military base. It's very localized within those things. And that's when people start getting nervous. What are these things doing there? There was the reports from... God, I'll have to remember the name of it, but the UK one from decades ago where it shut down the nuclear weapons.
Oh, really?
Like it started them up and then shut them down just to be like, we can do this.
That makes sense because during the hearing, there was a constant mention of the fact that they can control our technology.
Yeah.
Like anything. Yeah.
God, I wish I could remember the name of it. It was in the UK, and they had these sightings night after night of this little triangular object, and then they saw it land in the woods, and all these military guys went out, and it was hovering off the ground a few feet, and one of the guys went up and touched it and then started writing down the things that he saw in his mind.
Wow.
Yeah, and it turned out to be some message about like saving the earth and like stopping this and stopping that. If I find it, I'll put it up on the screen. But
radical leftist,
fucking libtards,
controlling the weather.
And
all this time, like Marjorie Taylor Greene has been right.
Yeah,
and it's the Democrats and there's squid aliens.
If Marjorie Taylor Greene is right about anything, I'm gonna fucking drive off a cliff. So the thing about these guys that encountered this triangular object is a bunch of them got medical problems later, like cancer, but extreme amounts that don't make sense, like just riddled with it.
Yeah.
So they were trying to get money from the military, saying, "Look, we encountered this thing while on duty, and you guys are not taking care of us." Which that's the military.
Yeah, no surprises. And you know what? In the next 4 years, more of their benefits are going to be gone anyway, too.
They're going to be totally stripped out. Mm-hmm. That's one of the first things that they're going to go after, that and NASA.
Yeah.
Because once they take out NASA, who is left after that? SpaceX.
We got to privatize space travel. They already did SpaceX and Blue Origin.
Yeah, just so everyone knows, we're heading into one of the darkest periods in American history. Without a doubt, if you don't see the writing on the wall already, you're not looking.
Yeah, thanks, assholes.
Yeah. But at least eggs might be 50 cents cheaper.
Yeah. Fuck. No, they're not. Because bird flu is going to be the reason that they're going to spike up again, just like
that's why it was the first time, but they just said it was Biden's fault.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah.
We can't go down this rabbit hole yet.
I know, right? No, we can't do that. We can't do that. Okay. So one of the other things that I grabbed as a note was from the Rear Admiral's testimony of the high resolution images that correspond with sonar and radar data.
Yes.
Of submersibles.
Yes. Supposedly there's all this tons of high resolution footage of these objects hovering above the water, coming out of clouds, and then going into the water. Well, I actually have some of the reports here. So when the Immaculate Constellation reports come out, these are some of the bullet points from the incident reports. Now I'm gonna share this screen with you guys real fast, and this is the actual document. So it's 11 pages long, I think.
Wow, that's pretty short for a government document.
Pretty short, yeah. Which was surprised. I thought it was gonna be like 400 pages. Now we might be seeing a shortened version of it. Maybe behind the scenes, someone's getting a longer version. So the Immaculate Constellation program was established in 2017, and it reportedly evolved after the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, or ATIP, to collect and analyze data on UAP encounters, particularly those with military personnel. So just a few of the incident reports. The first one that I saw, 12 metallic spears came together and formed sort of a cube shape, and they skimmed across the surface of the water.
Like a cube, or
so like if you were to take a bunch of dots and put it and make the dots into a three-dimensional cube, like draw the line so it looks three-dimensional.
Right.
It's like that. And so when you're far away, it looks like a cube skimming across the water. When you get up close, you realize, oh, these are individual ships lined up as a cube.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something you keep seeing with these military reports, is that they're seeing cubes inside of spheres that are sort of semi-translucent. It seems to be these interacting shapes all the time. And so they saw this cubic form through FLIR cameras, forward-looking infrared, and they appeared white hot, and each orb had sort of atmospheric distortion around it and moving at incredible speeds.
Well, quote unquote moving.
Yes.
Because we don't know what that distortion is.
We don't know what that distortion is.
Right.
It could be some sort of gravitational distortion. Who knows what it is? Or it could be a bunch of birds flying at ultra fast speeds in a cube shape. If you, depending on who you're listening to.
According to Emilio Estevez, ducks fly in a V.
Hey, don't question Emilio, okay? Emilio. He knows his shit. One of the other reports, a medium-sized oval-shaped craft seemed to scan the coastline near sensitive facilities, and while it was scanning, it stops rapidly, turns, and shoots off into the ocean. So the whole time the military is tracking this vehicle, and they're trying to track it as far as they can. It's flying super low, and then they just lose sight of it. I'm assuming it went underwater. And from the reports of these things, they can go from, thousands of feet up in the air, dive directly down into the water with no resistance whatsoever and no splash. So it's some sort of displacement thing with the water. They're able to just move right through it. To me, the whole USO thing makes complete sense. I mean, but James Cameron called it a long time ago with the Abyss.
Yeah. Also, because we're trashing the planet.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the biggest area to hide. It makes the most sense to them. If I was this high intelligence being, it's like, oh, there's that big dark area. We're gonna go hide there.
There's these things that live on it. They're giant monkeys.
These things that are terrible. They're ruining the planet.
They have a space program, but don't worry, they don't look under the water.
Yeah, exactly. There's reports of orbs forcing military aircraft like F-22s to alter their flight plans because they're just flying too close to them. And Navy vessels keep seeing orange-red spheres observed around their ship. Now, one of the things that came out is the reported potential possession of UAP-related technologies, including alien reproduction vehicles, fueling the whole thing about efforts to reverse engineer it. So, as these things are discovered, I don't know if it's alien craft or actual human craft that are trying to go find these things. Because one of the things that came out during Elizondo's testimony is, yes, we have retrieved aircraft, and so have other countries. It's known, and we also have non-human intelligences because they can't say we have fucking aliens. They have to say NHIs.
Well, legally speaking, too, there are certain countries like India who have NHIs where they will charge you for things like murder for something like a dolphin or a whale because they're considered NHIs.
Yeah.
So there's a play on words here, or there may be a play on words here too, because they're just not being straight with what these things, what the non-biological agents are.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. It could be. Plus, when people think of aliens, there's so many things that could cover. We could be visited by multiple different things. There's been theories for years about all the different races that have visited here. The tall whites, the grays, the reptiles, the bugs, the Pleiadians, all that stuff. I mean, if you want to go deep into the rabbit hole, you can get into all that stuff. But I'm actually going to be doing a show here pretty soon where we're going to cover all the different races and talk about what they mean. But the race to find these things and reverse engineer it, it's only going to be a matter of time before more of this stuff starts leaking out. I mean, you can't contain something this big.
I would say it already is, because some of these TikToks that I saw in research of this were like news footage from Turkey where the reporter is just like, we don't know what's going on here, but they've got this video and it's the same squid thing in the same shape as what was released from official government, documents, or not documents, but property.
Yeah. Let's talk about the squid thing real fast. So there's different ships that have been described. And I'll get into them here. There's the sphere of the orb, which we discussed, a disc or a saucer, an oval or tic tac shape or tear shaped, which is what that one of the original UFO videos that came out during disclosure, where you see that in the air they're tracking it and you see it turn.
Yeah,
that was supposedly like a tic tac shaped one. The triangles. Now, the triangles are interesting because they've been reported to be about the size of an F-22 or the size of a football field. There's that huge range of size. They usually have lights on each corner, and people have even seen from the underside almost looks like a star field underneath, sparkling star field on the skin of the ship. And these are the ones that have been flying close to facilities and from the coast and observing.
And urban settings too. I think I've seen
urban settings.
Cell phone. Yeah, like I think there was footage from Colorado somewhere in Denver, I think.
Yeah.
Of those triangles.
Yeah. The triangle ones have been seen for a long time. One of the most credible UFO videos, I think it was taken in Norway or Sweden, where you see, I'll put it up on the screen here, but you see a triangular craft and there's like a motion blur on it, and people have not been able to figure it out. They think it's completely legitimate. And this is going back to the 80s. So these things have been around for a long time. There is the boomerang or arrowhead shaped UAPs, which are some of the more rare ones that have been reported. They have a bilateral symmetry. They have these sweeping wings. So these are seen, but they're not seen very often. Now, getting to the jellyfish or the irregular or organic ones. These are some of the more recent videos that have come out, and all the debunkers will say like, oh, this is a bunch of balloons. But I've seen a bunch of balloons in the sky. I've seen Mylar balloons in the sky, and this doesn't look anything like it. This looks like almost like a floating brain with tentacles coming down. And what were you saying earlier before we started about the translucent type skin, right?
Translucent light skin that only appears on infrared cameras.
Yeah. So I'll play some video here of it, of different ones that we've seen, but we don't know what sort of biological things this, if it's biological at all, like you were saying. It could be a completely mechanical object that's meant to mimic something.
Right.
And it also goes back to my theory that all jellyfish are actually aliens.
Fuck those
because
guys.
It makes sense. It could be that at the end of the day, when these things are finally revealed, they might just look like jellyfish. And maybe they're just mimicking their own shape.
Yeah, we do that all the time with our own technology.
Yeah, we do it all the time.
Like, yeah.
Humans love drawing other humans and making other humans. It's just what we do. Yeah. You'll see like all the debunker guys say, no, it's just balloons. And they'll try to like Photoshop together shapes of balloons to match it up. You know, there's a chance. There's a slight chance, but the way these things are moving around, and I just get a feeling from them that it's not balloons.
No.
And I've watched it a lot, and it doesn't feel that way to me.
The movement and the way that it's tracked, it can't just be a smudge.
Yes.
The speed, because and you know, we're not talking about blurry cell phone footage on this. These things have appeared on U.S. bases, and the footage that we have been shown is from military grade equipment.
Yeah. One of the more interesting things that no one seems to be talking about in this report, that what I came across, are the biological effects on humans from seeing these things or being around them. Now, each one seems to have similar but different effects on actual humans, like a sphere or people feel uneasy and they have electronical device malfunctions. The disc or saucers, they seem to affect sort of the same way as the orbs, sort of unease and malfunctions. The one I want to find here, where is it?
The saucers, so there's a lot of eyewitness testimony about somebody touching it and what it did to them?
Yeah. Well, there's also the aerial school report going back to the 80s where all these kids saw the same craft, and they saw beings come out of the craft, and the beings had put the image and the thoughts in the heads of all the kids that we're destroying the planet and something has to be done. So they interview the kids after. There's lots of footage of this and documentaries about these kids saying, yeah, I got this flash in my head, and they were talking to me and saying the planet is being destroyed. And they all saw the same craft, and then it went away. So with the triangular craft, people have expressed long-term psychological effects such as anxiety and insomnia, along with the feeling of being watched all the time, way after having the experience. It just stays with them that they're being watched.
That could be the CIA van down the street.
You're going to get some people
the one that's going to be showing up. The one that's going to be showing up here pretty soon when this goes live.
No, I didn't even have that many viewers that they would come and arrest me. They might like shoot me with one of those heart attack guns or something.
Oh, the nausea gun too?
Yeah, they have those, by the way.
Oh yeah, totally. Back to the mental health issues that were happening. I mean, it makes perfect sense. I'm already have anxiety. If I saw what I thought was something like unnatural, then yeah, there would be major psychological issues. I won't be able to sleep, and you get that feeling of being watched all the time, as we probably are.
Yeah. So this is the squid footage that I found. This is the most readily available one. I'm gonna try to find other ones later, and I'll drop them in. But this is the most well-known one that's come out. It's a very unusual shape. If you're looking at it, it looks like an animal or something.
Yeah.
And this is obviously through infrared. So as it says, it was in Iraq, 2018. And they tracked this thing the whole time. Now, some of the debunkers say that there's a type of balloon that's bought and put out during a very specific Arab holiday. And the shapes match up what those shapes are. Again, it totally could be that.
It could.
But
no, it's not. It's not.
But it's not.
It's not. It's not. I've seen different angles of this same ship or whatever it is, creature.
Yeah.
There, and this is the stuff. For example, this is the one and that live broadcast from Turkey was coming up from trees.
Yeah.
But it was in a different angle. This thing has like a consistent shape throughout, and almost you can tell it's a 3-dimensional object.
Yeah.
But it's consistently in the same shape because we're only seeing one side of it.
Yeah. And a lot of times with these Mylar balloons, they're going to be shifting around in the wind and flipping over each other and spinning. This is staying at the exact same angle the entire time, moving at a consistent speed. And to me, it just feels real.
And presented to congressmen and women.
Yeah. Including Laura Boebert, who had to take time out of the hearing to make a joke about the election being stolen in 2020. Fucking I just can't stand this anymore.
She was at the latest one too.
Yeah, she kept making jokes about stuff. You people that voted her in, what the fuck?
Colorado, right?
Jesus. My brothers live in Colorado. They have more sense than that.
Hey, aliens, this specific county in Colorado sucks.
Suck it out of the ground. Yeah. Take it with you.
You know what? A lot of the pollution that's happening in that area would stop if you took out that county.
Now, the last thing I wanted to talk about is the objects falling out of these things. In many cases, they observed orbs coming out of the ships, dropping down, falling into the ocean, or things going up into the ships. I don't know if these are other UAPs being dropped off, if they're being retrieved. but it's a common thing to see orbs flying out of the ships like it's taking a shit.
Wow. Maybe it is.
And there is footage of that stuff.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, and I will drop it in there. So, yeah, a lot of these people that they feel like they were in a trance watching it. You just have to read the whole report. It's only 11 or 12 pages, go read it. You can just type it on Google, you can find it. And considering that it's taken this many years to come out, I think you owe it to them to read it.
There was people who fought for this to get out. Courts.
Yeah. Yeah. My great grandpappy died for this.
Right.
He fought in the UFO wars.
UFO information wars.
So yeah, I just wanted to cover this really fast with you, and I guess if anything else comes out, we can have another discussion about it. Be open-minded, people. Just don't discount it right away.
No, and also don't rush to religion as quickly.
Yeah,
because that's already happening. It's already happening. Oh, shit.
I asked my dad his opinion on this stuff, and he said, this is all fake, put on by the government, because when people are raptured up into heaven, they'll want to have an explanation, and they'll say that everyone was abducted by aliens.
For those of us that stay behind,
and then I started having a seizure for how stupid that was.
It's better. I thought you were going to say Nephilim.
The Nephilim, yeah.
Nephilim.
The sons of God saw the daughters of man and saw them to be pure, and so they fought.
So they fought. Their pull-out team is weak.
Yeah. So, if anything else comes out, we'll talk about it. But in the meantime, yes, go look up the Immaculate Constellation document. Watch the hearing. You can skim through it, or you can watch a highlights reel. But a lot of people put their livelihoods on the line for this, and their reputations. And I want to trust them.
Right.
So, we'll be back soon for the episode. And if you have any comic book needs, go check out Black Market Comics on Instagram. And Henry has an amazing collection of comics, and he's always... When's your live sales?
Tuesdays, every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Central Time. That's 9 Eastern and 6 Pacific.
That's right. You can't find any better buys than with Henry. So if you're looking for any comic books, he's your man. And hopefully we'll be back soon. And I'm not sure when Gabriel's gonna be back, but we're all we just wish him the best and hope everything's okay.
Yeah.
So yeah. So all right. Good night, everybody.
Hey.